it's Big V. Today we're talking teams and one of the most important topics you ever will hear. We think about all the different things people search for, and what they're looking for is, how do I just stay motivated in a changing real estate market? How do I stay fired up? How do I stay engaged? How do I get up and do the right thing every day? Well, that's a big challenge. I'm going to share with you some critical strategies, and I'm going to give you a free download on some specific things you can do to not only stay motivated, but actually stay productive no matter what happens to the market. You see, folks, I believe that greatness is predictable. I also believe that average is predictable. And based on the activities you focus on, we can predict whether you're going to have greatness or whether you're going to be average. And it's really up to you. The real focus, and I think this is why you really need to watch this video, is I'm going to help you identify what really gets you up in the morning, what your real motivating purpose is, what your real why is. And it's usually not what you say it is. And I'm going to give you a worksheet that you'll be able to actually download, and then you can work through the questions that I'm going to ask right now, as if I were talking to you coming into coaching, to help identify what your real why is. I've been doing seminars for more than 20 years now, and almost at the end of every seminar, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, Verl, man, that was awesome. I want you to be my coach." Well, I have coaches that work for us, and I coach very few people anymore, but I want to ask this question. What is it about my message that resonated with you? Why do you think you need a coach? Why do you think I'd be a good coach? And they say, well, it's because you see things differently, or because I think you can motivate me. The moment someone says, I think you can motivate me, I immediately think, probably not going to be a very good client. Because you see, if I have to motivate you, I probably don't need you. Now, that's kind of a harsh statement, isn't it? If you need someone to motivate you every day, you're not self-motivated, it requires a tremendous amount of energy to get someone to do something they don't want to do. You have to have a core motivating value or something inside of you that says, I want more for my family, or for my parents, or for my significant others, or for the community. I need to have you to be motivated for something other than the money. Otherwise, you won't do hard things. And if I have to motivate you, I promise you it'll be a conflict situation that neither one of us enjoy. So let's talk about some people that I've met over the years. I remember doing a seminar one time, and a lady came up to me. We were at the Lake of the Ozarks and on the Great Lakes. And she came up to me and she said, "Verl, I need you to be my coach." And I says, "Well, tell me why." She says, "Well, I just need to make $150,000 and I know you can help me get there." I said, "Well, why is that important to you?" She says, "Well, I just know that $150,000 would change my ability to pay my bills, and I just want to be in a better situation financially." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but why?" She goes, "Why do you keep asking me that?" I'm like, "You're not really telling me what is really driving you. I want you to think about it." And she thought about it for a minute, and she came back and she said, "I'll tell you why 150. Because that was my combined income with my ex-husband before we were divorced. And I'm tired of telling my children we don't have the money to do things we used to be able to do." That is a motivator. When she shared with me her real why, now I can work with that. You see, because now when I ask her to do something, if she doesn't do it, I'll just say, "I thought you wanted to change the outcome for your kids. I want you to be able to put them in competitive sports instead of rec sports. You said you wanted to give them nicer cleats instead of secondhand shoes. You wanted to be able to do things differently, but yet you're not doing the work. So is the work really that big of a deterrent, or is that really not your core value?" And you see, when you have those real core motivating values, you don't need to be motivated, because you get up every day thinking about, I don't want to do that to my children. Another example was, I remember being in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot. Matter of fact, I go golfing with my brother-in-law in Arizona. He wants to leave at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, "Why at 9 o'clock at night to hit balls?" He goes, "Because the sun goes down and we won't die out there." Going to hit balls at 9 o'clock at night was a big deal. And I remember going out there and thinking how hot it is. And then during the day, I didn't even want to go outside of the car. You get outside and it's like this heat wave hits you. You can almost breathe it into your lungs. You feel like you're breathing fire. It's so hot. It's like 120 degrees. I remember doing a seminar. At the end of the seminar, I had a sweet lady come up to me and she says, "Hey, Verl, I want you to be my coach." That's how a lot of them start out. And I say, "All right, tell me why." She says, "Well, you just talked about systems, and I love systems, and I want to have more systems in my business." I said, "That's awesome. Why?" She says, "Well, what do you mean?" "I just think having more systems, I'd be more productive." I said, "Yeah, but what does it mean when you're more productive?" She says, "Well, it means that I would have more time to be with my family, and I wouldn't have to work as hard." I go, "Oh, tell me more about your family." And she tells me about her family. I said, "What would you do if you had more time?" And she says, "Well, really, it's not just about the time. I actually want to make more money." I said, "How much more?" She said, "I need to make an extra $150,000, more than what I'm making today." I'm like, "What would you do with that?" And she says, "Oh, we would be able to have better vacations." And she kind of gave me the standard answers. And I don't know. For me, I was having a hard time seeing that she was going to be deeply motivated to do hard things. And I said, I appreciate that you want to have a little better life, have a little better vacations, and make a little bit more money, but your $150,000 was very specific. What specifically changes in your life when you have an extra $150,000? And then she looked up to me and she said, and she had a little tear in her eye, she said, my husband is the diving coach at the University of Arizona. He's 30, but he looks like he's 60. He spends every day all summer out in the blazing sun, and it's killing him, and it breaks my heart. If I made an extra $150,000, he could quit and stop working outside all the time. I got that. That I can work with. When you give me your core motivating value, when you tell me what's really important to you, that's how you get motivated. You see, when nobody asks you those questions, they don't help you dig deeper into what your real why is. You just kind of wander around and you wonder why you need to be motivated. It's because you haven't taken the time, you haven't really taken the time to figure out what it is that will get you to do hard things. I've learned that most people will do things for others that they are unwilling to do for themselves. Making more money is great and having a nicer car might be nice, but it's not something that will really change your life. It's not really going to change the world. I remember Christy coming to me, and this was in Texas. We were in Houston, Texas for the Houston Association of Realtors. Christy came to me at the end of the seminar, and what do you think she said? Oh, that was awesome. I want you to be my coach. I actually told her, nah, I'm not taking on any clients right now, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. And she said, I don't think you're understanding me. You're going to be my coach. And I said, all right, tell me more about that. Why? She said, oh, I am sick and tired of seeing all these other agents that are not as good as I am walking across the stage getting their awards. I've been stuck at $250,000 for like 5 years and I can't get past it. 250, 250, 250, 250. And I know I'm capable of earning more. I'm like, oh yeah, well, why? She's like, what do you mean why? I mean, I'm tired of watching other people get awards and I know they're not better than me. I've done deals with them and they're not that great. And I says, yeah, I see you're competitive, but I don't really buy it. What does having more money really do for you? And I want you to really think about it and then come back to me after the next session and tell me. She looked at me and she says, fine. She turned around and she sat down. Finished the seminar, and I remember Christy coming back to me and she says, I'm going to share it with you, but I've never told anybody else this. She says, $250,000. She says, I never want to rely on a man again to take care of my 2 boys. And as a single mom, I need to be financially independent for the rest of my life. And I don't ever want to rely on somebody else. You see, she had had bad experiences with people in her life before, and she never wanted to be reliant or made bad decisions on who she dated or who she married because she needed their financial security. She wanted to be independently secure so she could take care of her 2 boys. Now, what do you think about that why? I mean, do you really believe somebody like that is going to say no when you ask them to prospect or do their daily success habits or do something difficult? You see, when I worked through the real why with Christy and we laid out a plan of what it was going to look like, this is what happened to her business. She went from 250 to 575 in 1 year. The next year, she went from 575 to 1.1 million. And then she went from 1.1 million to 1.7 million to 3.4 million. And every single year she grew because she learned tactically how to set up her business correctly. She followed coaching advice, and failure was not going to be an option for her. It's really fun to watch Christy today as she focuses on building wealth and helping her team members build wealth. It's fun to see her son come into the business and her begin to have grandchildren. Now she dates because she likes somebody, not because she needs their money. And it's a pretty high standard when you make that kind of money to come in and offer real value to a relationship, because it no longer is about financial security. It's about, do we connect in all the important things in life? Our family, our faith, our friends, our fun, our fitness, or our food. You see, having a real core motivating value and having a real why is game changing when it comes to motivation. So let me ask you, are you motivated? Are you self-motivated? Are you hungry? Do you want and believe you're capable of doing more, but you're not sure how to get there? What I'm going to ask you to do, I want you to go right here, download right at the bottom of this video, the whole worksheet on how to develop your real why. And I want you to go through it. And once you have it done, I'd like you to reach out and schedule a coaching consultation, not with one of my sales team, but one of my real certified coaches. And when you send that in and you ask for a coaching consultation, we'll spend 30 to 60 minutes with you and help you lay out your life plan. Maybe you'll become a client, maybe you won't, but I promise there will be value in the call.